Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's GC Performance here, back with another video. Today we're going to be discussing how to choose the correct pedal and float for your type of riding. So over the years, I have ridden on Look and I have ridden on Shimano, dabbled with Speedplay for a little bit, but I just kind of wanted to go ahead and discuss some of the experience that I have had myself. So first, we're going to start off with Look, and the Look pedal comes in 3 different cleat styles by Look themselves. I'm sure they make different platforms as well. But they make a red version, a gray version, and also a black version. The red version is going to be a 9 degrees of float, 4.5 degrees of float for the gray, and for the black, it's going to be 0 degrees of float. It's going to be a fixed position. And we'll talk about what all these means in float and everything like that. Usually when you buy a pair of Look Keo Classics or Look pedals in general, they're going to come always stock and standard with the 4.5 degrees of float. What this means is that it allows what kind of variation you have when your pedal is clipped in. So if they have 4.5 degrees of float, when your pedal is, or your foot is clipped into that pedal, you can have about a 4.5 degree variation of float, 4.5 degree of float to left or right side. So it allows your body, if you're, let's say that your foot's clipped into that pedal and your knee's going up and down like this, let's say that your knee variates to left or right, it's going to allow, or when your ankle comes down, or maybe you have some kind of pre-existing leg injury or leg length discrepancy, it's going to allow for that little bit of room for your foot to pivot or your foot to move around when you come up or down, especially at high cadence or especially when putting out a lot of power. So you want a little bit of variation for float, especially if you're not riding continuously like a pro or someone who rides every single day. That's the general of what everyone kind of rides, is the 4.5 degree float. They put them stock into the pedals, and usually once you get them, there's no, you don't have second thoughts of it. Now the zero fix is what a lot of pros ride because of the fact that they don't want any kind of lateral movement from side to side when riding. They don't want any kind of movement lateral from side to side, and what that means is that they don't want to lose any power. They don't have any float at all when riding on this. So because they're pro athletes and they're usually in good condition, they've been riding every single day, their body will get used to that fixed position. They'll have personal fit trainers on here that will literally watch their leg go up and down. If it's variating, their knee varying in towards the bike or out towards the bike, if their knee is buckling in or out, if their foot is or their ankle has different ankle patterns and is causing it to move, they'll make those corrections on the cleat on the bottom. They maybe either move the cleat, left or right, up or down, and place it differently on the shoe to allow it to be fixed, because of the fact that when they're putting on power, they don't want to lose wattage, they don't want their heel to kick out, they don't want their foot to move around. So that's why pros will usually or typically ride a 0 degree float or a fixed position. 9 degree float on the red Look Keos is almost, it feels like you're not even clipped in, to be honest with you. I went this route when I was younger. When I was thinking like 22, I had a knee injury and I was getting a lot of pain on the inside of my knee. So I tried these out for a little bit, the 9 degree float. It was, in my experience, now I understand there are certain people who have knee problems, ankle problems, something in their hip that needs them to have that kind of degree of float, and they still want to be clipped in. That's great. If you have that pre-existing injury or whatever, if that allows you to ride, then for sure, that's great. You need to do what you need to do. But in terms of actual riding, when I was riding, every time that I come up and down the pedal stroke, so let's try a bike. That's the pedal. Then we got a crank arm right here. Every time I was coming down on the pedal, I mean, literally, it felt like I was ice skating. Like this thing was just like, I was clipped into the pedal, but I was literally moving around left and right. I could literally act like my foot wasn't clipped in. And you could get used to it for sure, but coming off of 4.5 degrees for so long, I think I was riding for 5 to 6 years on this, and this is all I knew for the longest time. And I went to 9 degrees for like 2 weeks, and it was brutal. I immediately went back. I think actually even, if it didn't make my knee pain worse, but I felt like I didn't have support, and I didn't feel comfortable going for sprints. I felt like I was going to clip out every single time. Whenever I went for a sprint, or if I put on a lot of power, I just felt like my shoe was like loose. But if you need that certain situation where you need that kind of variation for float, let's say you had knee surgery, hip surgery, something where you need to have your knee go out when riding, or you need ankle play, you had ankle surgery or something like that, then this is definitely the largest option. Now, next one we're going to talk about is Shimano. I know Speedplay is an option, and I'll talk about Speedplay as well, but Speedplay has a lot of options, and sometimes I'm a big believer in less is more. Again, there are certain situations where people need 22 degrees of float or a lot of different variations in terms of customization for fit and stuff like that. But I'll talk about Speedplay later. But yeah, we'll go into Shimano now. So let's bring up Shimano. So, okay, well. So we have red float, 9 degrees of float, 4.5 degrees of float, and 0 degrees of float. You will always get, no matter what pedal you buy from Look, the gray in the middle. You have to make an upgrade for either the black or the red if you want to choose. So if you buy their highest end pedal that they make or their cheapest pedal, you're always going to get a gray keel blade. And 4.5 degrees of float is great. I mean, that's more than enough. Now on Shimano, they have a completely different scale of float. So we'll go ahead and do that. So boom, we'll go into paint. We'll bring up the Shimano pedals in the Speedplay and the blue and the red. Let's get into float talk. Okay, so we have yellow, blue, red. Yellow is what everyone's usually used to. And with yellow float, Shimano has a different float variations. The yellow is going to come stock with 6 degrees of float. So a little bit more float than what the gray one comes with, but not as much as the red. Blue is going to come with 2 degrees of float, and red is going to be the 0 or the fixed degree of float again. Fixed. That's again 0 float. So we already went over that. 2 degrees of float. When I first started riding, I'm sorry, not when I first started riding. When I went out to Specialized, I was riding yellow cleats for the longest time because I had Shimano 105 pedals on my bike, and I wanted to specialize. And I saw one of the reps or one of the guys out there with blue cleats. I'm like, yo, that must be custom made. That must be special. I was so naive to the sport, I wasn't really looking into it. I was young in the bicycle world and stuff like that. But I saw the blue, I'm like, I really wanted those. So I went from the 6 degrees of float that I was riding for a long time after I switched from Look to Shimano just because of aesthetics, really, because I had a full bike of Shimano and I wanted to match the bike with the pedals and blah, 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 because I'm stupid. But I had my 6, I was like, oh, I have yellow cleats. Let me just go to blue. They're like, oh, it's a different float variation. I was like, I can handle it for sure. It was a noticeable difference after riding this 6 degrees of float to 2 degrees. I mean, you're almost to 0 degree fix. I would always set up my cleats in a normal position and I'm the fitter now, and I've always been carefully noticed of my fit. So on your pedal, you have a fit like this. Your fit right here. You have different spots. You can move these laterally. You have a little bit of play you can do here. I have them marked in my shoe to the exact. I put these blue cleats on my yellow cleats exactly where they were on the same shoe, same everything, same arch support, everything like that. I immediately felt on my knee the next ride on the inner side of my knee. And I didn't realize how much of my knee did go up and down or side to side, or how much I got used to this kind of comfortable float. It wasn't noticeable to the point of the reds on the Look where I felt like I was moving around a lot. Like, this is definitely way significant less than the red Look. And this is kind of the norm for Shimano. A lot of people don't even realize it. These come on the Shimano 105 carbons. They come on the Ultegra carbons. They come on the cheaper plastic Shimano pedals. This is the norm. So at 6 degrees of float does not feel like a lot more than 4.5, but it was a noticeable difference going from 6 degrees to 2 degrees, and I had knee pain for a while. And I still kept on trying to ride them for a little bit. Still try to get used to it, but then I just realized that just because I wanted a blue color on my shoe, it was not for me. And that was when I was younger. I think I was like 21, 22. And I just wanted this blue because I had blue on my bike. I was like, that looks sick. My shoes had blue boas on them from a dealer event. I was like, that looks awesome. But I could not keep up. No matter how the rides went. At first, when it was just light speed, I could deal with it when I was riding by myself. But in a group ride, when I was really hammering and putting on power, that 2 degree float and that 2 degree variation where I had no lateral movement back and forth, I noticed it in my knees right away. So definitely did not enjoy that as much. Again, the 0 degree fix is going to be what majority of the pros will ride because of the fact, not all of them, but majority of them want the best advantage they can get. They don't want any lateral movement back and forth, side to side, because that's losing power. They want to have power that goes straight up and down, goes directly into the bike, and takes off. So they don't want any movement from their shoe to their pedal and go like that. So, but also, guys, this is not me telling you if you want to go fast, do this, because they're used to this. They're on the bikes 5 to 7 days a week, riding every single day, and their bodies get used to it, and they do warm-up rides, they do training rides, they have physical therapists, they have people to work on their knees, massage their ligaments, everything like that. I'm not recommending this, but obviously when there is no movement, you're going to get more direct power. So that's it. Now, let's say that you came from a Look cleat. Let's go ahead and let's do this real quick. Let's say you came from a file, new, don't save, Look cleat. let's say you came from Cleat, and again, you want to be like GC Performance. You want to be like, oh, I want to get a Shimano pedal to match my bike. But you're so used to riding this 4.5 degree of float. How do I get this 4.5 degree of float into your Shimano Speedplay? Or, I'm sorry, I don't even know why I said that, your Shimano pedal. This is what you do. There are companies that make knockoff pedals. Oh God, this is not gonna be good. I don't know if you guys can see that. Enhance. Ooh, what the skills. Okay, this is not made by Shimano. This is made by Exustar. We sell these at our store. This is a 4.5 degree of float. Exact same of what the gray Cleat is for the look. So if you want it, but this is compatible with your SPD SL. SPD SL for your Shimano pedal. So if you wanted to ride a Shimano 105 Ultegra or Dura-Ace pedal, and you want to have your 4.5 degree float because of the fact that you're so used to look, you can have that. It'll be the exact same amount of float, and it's a compromise. So that is great. That is a definitely an option. They're cheap. You can find them at any store. You can find them at eBay. You can find them at Amazon. They're called, again, Exustar. So that is a different option for you guys. Now I'll get into Speedplay real quick. I don't really like talking about it that much because, one, we stopped selling because there's so many different variations of them. They are a great platform. They are a great pedal. But there is so much to them. And usually the people who ride them, it's a very lightweight pedal. It's a very lightweight platform. And they work really well, but there is so many different variations. They have like the X-Lite, they have the, like I said, I think the Speedplay Zero or something like that, where it has like 22 degrees of float back and forth, where you can actually home it in. They have a lot that you can do to the pedal, but I'm a big believer in less is more, and I don't think, hold on a second, guys. All right, sorry about that. My daughter walked in again, but so yeah, so what I was getting at with Speedplay is that, as you guys can see, there is so many different variations. Now I think Wahoo did a better job of kind of clearing that, because I just went to Wahoo's site and they have definitely a Wahoo Speedplay. They have definitely a slimmer selection from what I remember. But back in the day when we used to sell Speedplay, they had the light action, they had zeros, they had an X5, they had an X2, they had the quick connect, they had like a pedal for everything. And like I said, there's a lot of options to it with the Cleat adjustments and stuff like that. And it got the people that really came to our store that were maybe novice, that said like, hey, I heard about Speedplays from my friend, I really want to get into Speedplay pedals. And then they'd be like, oh well, there's so many different variations, can you go over it? And they literally want us to walk through, like, you know, changing using the tool to adjust the Cleat, using the tool adjust the Cleat, using the tool adjust the Cleat, and it would actually take away from them actually thinking about just enjoying and pedaling, to thinking that if they had one bad ride or maybe had one bad pain, keep in mind they were a novice at the time, so they're going to have pain on the bike, they would think they needed to adjust the Cleat again or adjust the Cleat again, and it will never allow their body to actually acclimate to the fit. And whenever you change a bike and you keep on your bike, you're going to be sore no matter what you do the first time you get on a bike. But as you keep on riding, your body will get used to it and acclimated to it. But if you keep on changing and changing your foot position, your Cleat position, you're always going to have new pains and new sorenesses. They're not bad pains, but they're sore. So they're always going to think to change it. And there's just so many different options at the time. And personal preference for me, nothing against Speedplay. I just didn't like the platform of how to clip in and out. They're really easy to clip in and out, but I grew up on look, and that's just what I'm comfortable with, personal preference. So that's my take on that. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and if you guys did, leave a like on the video, comment if you want, let me know what you guys have for your pedals. If you have any questions, leave it down below, I'll answer them. And thank you guys again so much for listening to this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully I gave you guys some good content to listen to. But I'll see you guys later. Bye.